Maybe you understood the sense after you read the name of this vid, but actually, firstly, I want to thank everyone for 200 and thank you guys. I'm so happy to see that you like me, my channel, my animations, and you don't mind my accent. Thanks. And secondly, some of you remember that I was talking about sanatorium in the descripts. Okay, I want to talk with you about how it was there. It was like hospital and camp at the same time, so maybe you understood how it was in a nutshell. Well, my first day was the most boring, especially during the day sleep. The only things I could do were reading books and looking through my phone. We were actually giving our phones to a counselor or to a nurse, but I had my second useless phone and I was hiding my real. Yeah, I actually don't like dishonesty, but I didn't have another choice. Yeah, I feel sorry and I'm not proud of myself. During the day sleep, I made polls with two girls in my chamber room. First girl's name is Valera. She's funny and emotional person, but that's okay. Also, she likes me. Meh. Second, I won't say the real name because she actually doesn't want her names mentioned. Yeah. That's why I will call her, for example, Kate with a kawaii, but it's not her real name. You got it. There also was another girl, but she wasn't that interesting and she was too boring. Plus, she was taken home after a week here. That's why I don't want to talk about her. So we decided to start talking, and it wasn't so hard as I expected. We actually made great friends. In a few days, we also got our local memes that only we could understand. Plus, I actually started shipping Valera and Kate. Because every night Valera was fucking Kate's brain and she wanted to do this too, but not with Valera's brain. You got it. It was true love-hate, but they could be a great couple. For me. Well, let's return to the first day. Valeria discovered that I had a second phone, but she and Kate said they won't tell anyone about this. I'm lucky. On the evening, I made friends with everyone and we immediately started to prepare for the sanatorium's opening. That was in 2 days actually. I was an artist and me and Nastya, my friend, were drawing a big banner during those 2 days. It actually wasn't so bad. Maybe. I was actually the main artist in my ward, and I also forgot to say that I was in a 5th ward, but I had to be in a 6th ward because I was almost the oldest child in the whole sanatorium. But since I'm mentally 10, the 6th ward was treating me as a 10 years old girl. But one of them was my friend and my neighbor in 2013. I was in this sanatorium when I was younger and I was very happy and a bit wondered to see Pauline again. I also made friends with her friend, Elia. In the sixth ward, people were gossiping that Ellie is a bad person and wants to be friends with Polina only to be seemed more beautiful than her. But that's not true. Polina is beautiful too, and Ellie is a very nice person. Once I was drawing on her face, but those tattoos got erased, unfortunately. But that's okay. It was my first try in drawing on faces, and they said it was great. Well, before the night sleep, we decided to draw lots for who goes to the bathroom first. I was the last. I was always the last, but one day I decided to go to the bathroom during the day sleep, and some days not to go there at all. So I told ya about the first day, and now I'm going to talk about more cool guys. Well, das ist Iskander, my amigo. He is very funny, he is an artist, and we both love Minecraft! Once he gave me 2 Minecraft books and he gifted me one of them. Secondly, I want to talk about a person who had to be in 6th ward too. Her name is Ira, and as I discovered, last year she was in a 6th ward. But I don't know why now she was in the hours. Our first talk was during our first speleotherapy. Despite us and Kate, there were only guys who were telling us very smart jokes. So we had to be like in our own world, as far as it could be sound like this. So we discovered about each other something new. Also, during the first week, Ira and almost all the girls from our ward were playing something like hitting everyone's hips. And then I came to her and... Also, after the first Sunday, we began to communicate with her more often, and sometimes we were having our personal talks. We also have many same interests. For example, the amazing world of Gumball. I also discovered that she liked rope too, Sally Face, Adventure Time, and so on and so forth. Sometimes we were dancing during the slow dance, as it could be sounded like this. It was cool, despite I was a bit taller, and and more often she was dancing with a man from the 6th ward. Well, in short, she is not a bad person. So I guess it's time to end this video. It's only the first part, so I will tell you something more in the next video or videos. Bye. Thanks for watching.